The light swallowed the sky. Every ship in orbit above Earth was caught in it. For a moment, the Threx Dominion fleet believed they had won. Their sensors showed massive energy surges, systems failing, human cities lighting up like stars. But then, the light moved. It wasn't an explosion. It was a signal, a wave of living energy that spread across orbit, turning every human satellite, every ruined space station, every abandoned ship into part of a single network, one vast connected mind. From the surface, Koran watched in awe as lines of light traced across the planet like veins. Mountains glowed. Oceans shimmered. Even the moon began to pulse faintly. The woman beside him and the human commander, or maybe something more, spoke softly. "The human mind has awakened," Koran's voice trembled. "What are you doing?" "We are showing your people what they cannot destroy." Above them, the Dominion flagship, the Spear of Order, sent out a command to fire all weapons. Plasma beams, antimatter torpedoes, kinetic spears. The entire fleet unleashed destruction. But none of it reached Earth. Every weapon dissolved mid-flight, their power turned back into harmless light. The fleet's comms filled with static, then with whispers, human voices. Every Threx soldier heard them, calm, distant, emotionless. "You seek to dominate what you do not understand. You call us monsters. But we learned that monsters are only those who forget pain. We remember everything." Koran covered his ears, but it didn't stop the voices. They were inside his head, inside every Threx mind. The Dominion admirals tried to retreat, but their ships wouldn't move. One by one, the engines powered down. The lights flickered. And then something horrifying happened. On the fleet's weapons turned. The Threx ships began firing. On themselves. From orbit, the spectacle was terrifying. Thousands of ships burning, colliding, breaking apart in silence. No explosions, no screams, just quiet light drifting through the black. Koran fell to his knees. "You're controlling them." "Their minds." The woman shook her head. "Not controlling, showing." She turned toward him, her eyes reflecting the fire in the sky. "Your people thought survival was strength. But true strength is memory, and now they remember what they've done." Koran's communicator crackled weakly. His commander's voice broke through the static, desperate, screaming. "Koran, shut it down. The humans, they're inside our systems, inside our minds." Then the voice was gone. In orbit, the last Dominion ship detonated, its light reflecting off the Earth's atmosphere like a sunrise. Silence followed. For the first time in centuries, no alien fleet stood above Earth. Koran looked at the woman. "They're gone. All of them. You destroyed them." She shook her head slowly. "No. They destroyed themselves the moment they thought they could break us." Koran stared at the horizon, the ruins of human cities glowing faintly, as if alive again. "So, this is what makes you dangerous." The woman smiled, and not cruelly, but with deep sadness. "Dangerous? No. We are what happens when a species refuses to forget." Then she looked up at the stars. "But they will come again. Others always do." Koran felt the weight of her words. He had come to uncover human secrets, but what he found instead was something his kind could never understand. Unity born from pain. Strength built from loss. "Will you kill me too?" he asked quietly. She shook her head. "You've already seen the truth. That's enough punishment." The restraints around his mind vanished. His scanner reactivated. The readings shocked him. Human energy signals were spreading beyond Earth into space, jumping between star systems. Koran turned to her, terrified. "You're expanding. You're not rebuilding. You're spreading." Her faint smile returned. "We are not spreading, Koran. We are remembering where we left off." And then she was gone, vanished into light. Koran stood alone on the silent Earth, surrounded by ruins that were no longer dead. Machines hummed again. The air itself seemed alive. He opened a channel to the Threx Dominion, but there was no response. The empire that had ruled for centuries was silent. Koran whispered. "They thought humans were extinct. They were wrong." As the night fell, the stars above Earth began to shift, moving in impossible patterns. Forming words in light, "We are still here." Koran sank to the ground, staring at the sky, realizing the truth. The humans hadn't just survived. They had become something the galaxy could never defeat, something that remembered. Days passed, then weeks. But Corrin could not leave Earth. Every ship that tried to enter orbit vanished in light. Every signal he sent to the Dominion returned empty. No answer, no coordinates, no empire. It was as if the Threx Dominion had never existed. Corran wandered the ruins of old cities, glass towers wrapped in vines, metal streets cracked and silent. Yet now he felt life everywhere. The air hummed. The ground pulsed faintly like a living thing. The world itself was breathing, he knew now. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was awake. Then one morning, as the red dawn spread over the horizon, the woman appeared again. The same calm human with glowing eyes. "You stayed," she said. Corrin turned toward her. "I can't leave. My people are gone." She nodded slowly. "They are not gone. They are remembered." He frowned. "What does that mean?" The woman raised her hand. The air shimmered, and suddenly images appeared, floating above the ruins. He saw the faces of Threx soldiers, scientists, leaders, every one of them, their memories preserved in glowing threads of light. "They live inside the memory network," she explained. "Every species that touches us becomes part of what we are. Their mistakes, their fears, their hopes, we carry them." Corrin stepped back, horrified. "You absorbed them? Their entire empire?" The woman's tone didn't change. "We gave them what they gave us, in war, death, lessons. We learn from all." He stared at her, shaking. "This is monstrous." She met his eyes. "No, this is evolution." A low rumble echoed through the ground. The sky above changed again, lines of light forming across the atmosphere, stretching toward the stars. "The human mind is no longer bound to this planet," she said quietly. "We are connecting the galaxy." Corrin's chest tightened. "Connecting, you mean?" "Taking over?" The woman smiled faintly. "You still think in terms of control. We think in survival. Every world that joins us will never fall again. No more war, no more extinction." He shook his head. "You can't just merge entire civilizations." "They'll fight you." "They will," she said. At first, above them, the stars began to shift, hundreds of small lights moving across the night sky. Fleets, massive alien armadas from other empires approaching Earth. Corran recognized their signals: the Krath Confederacy, the Yulran Hives, the Vorthal clans, the strongest powers left in the galaxy. "They're coming," he said. "They know what you did to the Dominion." The woman turned to the sky. "Then let them come. We warned them long ago. Humanity does not die quietly." As the alien fleets entered orbit, they filled every frequency with warnings and threats. "Surrender the technology. Cease the memory expansion. We will burn your world to ash." Earth did not reply. Instead, the planet pulsed once in a heartbeat across the void. Then the human voice spoke across every ship, every mind. "We are not your enemy, but we remember what you are capable of." Corrin felt the energy surge through him, like millions of voices whispering at once. He saw flashes in his mind. Every alien species, every war, every betrayal. Humanity had recorded everything. The fleets opened fire. Beams of plasma, antimatter, and dark energy rained down on Earth. The planet lit up, but not from explosions. The human network absorbed it all. The attacks became fuel. Then Earth answered. Dozens of massive constructs rose from the oceans, glowing silver towers that unfolded into living ships. They didn't use engines or weapons. They moved through pure thought, bending light itself. They reached orbit in seconds. The alien armadas tried to retreat, but it was too late. The human ships didn't fire. Instead, they released waves of shimmering energy, not destructive, but invasive. Every alien vessel froze. Their crews screamed as visions filled their minds, visions of human history, pain, loss, rebirth. They felt what Corrin had felt, the weight of billions of souls who refused to break. One by one, alien fleets went silent. Some ships drifted closer to Earth willingly. Others shut down completely. No one fired again. In that moment, the galaxy saw the truth. Humans were not dangerous because of their weapons. They were dangerous because they never stopped remembering. Corrin looked to the woman who stood calm amid the storm. "What happens now?" He whispered. She turned toward him. "Now? We rebuild the galaxy, in memory, not in fear. He looked up, watching as the light spread beyond Earth, reaching toward distant stars. And if others resist? Her eyes glowed bright blue. Then they will learn what you learned, Corin. He felt a shiver run through him. And what is that? She smiled softly. That humanity's greatest weapon is understanding pain. Silence followed. The war was over. Not won, not lost, but transformed. As Corin stood on the quiet Earth, he realized something final and terrifying. Humanity hadn't just survived extinction. They had become something eternal, not a species, not an empire, but a memory that could never be erased. And somewhere deep within the stars, the voice of the human mind echoed once more. We remember. We endure, we rise. The galaxy would never be the same again. Smoke drifted over the dead city. The once blue sky was a dull gray, scattered with the glowing ashes of the Threx Dominion fleet. Corin stood in silence, the heat from the sky wreck still burning the air. He had witnessed entire empires fall, but never like this. No fire, no explosions, no sound, just light and silence. The Dominion's most powerful fleet had come to crush Earth. Now, it was gone. Corin's ship was nothing but melted metal. His armor was dead, his systems offline. Only his heart still raced, refusing to stop. He didn't run anymore. He knew there was no point. Human eyes were everywhere. Hours later, as night fell, he felt something move behind him. Before he could turn, the world around him blurred. His vision flashed white. And then, darkness. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer on the surface. He was lying on a metal table surrounded by soft blue light. The air was clean and cool. The faint hum of energy filled the room. Through the glass walls, he saw humans, silent, calm, and watching him closely. A woman stepped forward. Her hair was silver, her face calm, and her eyes almost glowing. "I am Dr. Ilara Voss," she said softly. "Welcome, Corin." He tried to stand, but invisible restraints held him down. "You know my name," he said slowly. "Then you also know why I'm here." Ilara smiled faintly. "Yes. You came to find out what makes us dangerous." She touched a small console, and the walls around him shifted. Images appeared. War after war. The fall of human cities. The rise of alien empires. Battles in space, oceans burning, planets falling. Every time humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and broken. And yet, after every defeat, the humans returned. Corin watched the images in disbelief. "How?" he whispered. "You should have died out long ago." Ilara turned toward him. "We did," she said quietly. "Many times." The walls changed again, showing scenes of human soldiers, doctors, engineers, and children, all learning, rebuilding, adapting. Ilara continued. "We learned something long ago. Strength doesn't come from power, it comes from memory, from pain." Corin frowned. "Pain makes you weak." Ilara shook her head. "Pain makes us remember, and remembering makes us impossible to destroy." She gestured to the glowing machines around her. "These are not weapons, they are memories, stored, rebuilt, reborn. Every war, every mistake, every loss is part of us." Corin stared at one of the hovering orbs near him. Its surface moved like water, reflecting his face and then showing another image, a human soldier, dying on a battlefield centuries ago. It was like the machine itself remembered the human's life. Ilara pressed another command, and the light above Corin changed. "You came to study us," she said softly. "Now, it's time you see how we study you." Before Corin could react, a soft pulse of energy spread across his body. He felt no pain, but his mind filled with light. Images flashed inside his head, his memories, his training, his orders, his fear. He struggled to move, but couldn't. "What are you doing?" he gasped. "Learning," Ilara said. "The same way you tried to learn about us." The light grew brighter. He felt his memories being copied, analyzed, rewritten, not stolen but understood. And strangely, he felt something else. A calm voice inside his mind. It wasn't Alara's. It was the machine. "We don't destroy life," it whispered. "We understand it." Corin's breath quickened. "You're inside my mind." "And you are inside ours," Alara said gently. "You wanted to know what makes us dangerous. It isn't our weapons. It's what we remember." Hours passed. Or maybe days. Time lost meaning. When the light finally dimmed, Corin could move again. He sat up slowly, trembling. On the table beside him was a small sphere, glowing softly, humming with the rhythm of his own heartbeat. Alara nodded toward it. "That is you. A copy of your mind, your memories, your fears, your loyalty, all translated into our code." Corin stepped back, horrified. "You copied my mind?" She smiled. "No, Corin. We learned your mind. There's a difference." He stared at her, confused. "Why? Why not destroy me?" Alara looked into his eyes, calm, unreadable. "Because every enemy who comes here becomes part of us. Every war teaches us something new." She walked closer, her steps silent. "Your empire wanted to know why humans survive every war. The answer is simple, because no war ever truly ends. We keep it alive in us. We grow from it." Suddenly the ground shook. The lights dimmed. An alarm echoed through the base. Corin turned sharply. "What's happening?" A human technician ran in. "Dr. Voss, we're receiving another signal from orbit. Multiple Dominion escape pods are entering the atmosphere." Alara sighed. "They're still trying." Corin felt a spark of hope. Maybe his people had survived. "Those are my soldiers," he shouted. "You have to let them land." Alara looked at him with sadness in her eyes. "They won't make it." On a nearby screen, Corin watched as small fireballs entered Earth's atmosphere, his people's escape pods. But as soon as they passed, through the upper layers, the light around them flickered, and they dissolved into dust. No explosions. Just disintegration, as if the planet itself rejected them. Corin fell to his knees. "You killed them." Alara shook her head. "No. They killed themselves when they refused to learn." Her voice softened. "That's why we survive, Corin. Not because we're stronger, but because we accept what others fear to face. Change." Later, in silence, Alara led Corin through the underground city. He saw children training beside soldiers, both learning from glowing machines. He saw wounded soldiers walking again, their bodies repaired by nanolight. He saw human scientists working with alien technology, Threx tech, Dominion tech, everything humanity had ever fought against, now part of them. Every battle, every enemy, recycled into progress. Corin couldn't speak. He could only whisper, "You turned war into evolution?" Alara smiled faintly. "Exactly. You called us dangerous. But we're not dangerous because we destroy. We're dangerous because we learn faster than anyone else." That night, as Corin rested in a small glass chamber, he looked up at the glowing ceiling. He had come to uncover a secret. Instead, he had become part of it. Through the glass, he could see the humans working tirelessly below, repairing machines, writing code, growing food, teaching children. There was no fear, no hatred, only purpose. He thought about the Dominion, proud, powerful, and now gone. And he finally understood why. The Dominion fought to win. Humans fought to understand. Dr. Alara appeared one last time before he slept. She stood beside his chamber and said quietly, "Rest now, Corin. Tomorrow you'll see what comes next." He opened his eyes. "What comes next?" Alara turned to leave, her voice echoing in the silence. "The next experiment." As the lights dimmed, Corin realized something terrifying. He wasn't just a prisoner. He was part of the experiment, the next step in humanity's endless evolution. And far beneath the city, something vast awakened. a machine made from human and alien code, opening its eyes for the first time. It spoke a single word in the darkness, its voice sounding eerily familiar. Adapt. The experiment had begun. Corin woke up in a bright, silent room. The walls glowed softly, made of some kind of living metal that pulsed like a heartbeat. He tried to move, but energy restraints locked his arms and legs. In front of him stood a woman, human, but different. Her eyes glowed faint blue, her movements calm and exact. "You are Corin of the Threx Dominion," she said softly. "Spy, observer, intruder." Corin's throat went dry. "How do you know my name?" The woman smiled faintly. "We know everything that enters Earth space. We let you in." Corin froze. "You let me in?" "Yes," she replied. "We wanted the Dominion to see what you could not understand, what makes us truly dangerous." She walked closer, placing a small crystal sphere on the table between them. Inside it flickered scenes, human wars, disasters, betrayals, endless destruction. And still, humans survived. Corin stared. "You survive everything, even yourselves. How?" The woman's voice became colder. "Because we learn. Every time we fall, we rise stronger. Every loss becomes memory. Every pain becomes power." She touched the sphere again, and Corin's mind was flooded with images. Billions of human lives, thoughts, memories. He gasped as he saw through their eyes, soldiers standing against impossible odds, doctors working while cities burned, children laughing in ruins. He shouted, "Stop, you'll destroy my mind." But she didn't stop. "You wanted to know our secret," she whispered. "Now feel it." Corin screamed as the memories sank into him. The rage, the courage, the fire. His alien heart raced faster than it ever had. When it was over, he fell to the floor shaking. His eyes burned with tears, something his species never did. "You made me feel," he whispered. "Human." The woman leaned closer. "Now you understand. Our strength is not in weapons. It's in what we become when everything else is gone." Suddenly, alarms blared. The walls shifted and screens appeared. The woman turned sharply. "Your Dominion fleet has entered Earth's orbit." Corin's blood ran cold. "They followed me?" She looked at him, calm but sad. "You were never the spy, Corin. You were the bait." Outside, in the black of space, thousands of Threx ships formed above Earth, ready to strike. The woman looked toward the ceiling, as if hearing distant voices. "You asked what makes us dangerous." She pressed her hand on a panel. The restraints on Corin vanished. "Now you'll see." From beneath the Earth, gigantic structures began to rise, towers of light and metal, connecting into a massive glowing network. The clouds above turned crimson as the planet itself awakened. Koranstu. Corin moved carefully through the ruins of what humans once called Earth. The wind carried dust and silence. Skyscrapers leaned like broken bones, and streets were cracked open by time. But under that silence, Corin felt movement, faint vibrations in the ground like a heartbeat. His mission was clear. Find out how humans survived every war they ever fought. But the deeper he went into this world, the more it felt like the war had never truly ended. Each night, when the two moons rose over the ruins, he heard the same whisper through his comm link. Observer detected. The voice wasn't alien. It was human. But no human was near him, at least not that he could see. Corin traveled across continents, broken megacities, drowned coasts, and deserts full of melted glass. Everywhere there were signs of human life, but no living humans. He found footprints in fresh soil. He found machines still running underground. Once he saw smoke rising from a distant valley, but when he arrived, it was gone. His scanners picked up energy signatures beneath the Earth, but they moved constantly as if the planet itself was alive. Then, after weeks of searching, Corin found a door. It was hidden beneath a ruined metro station, sealed with an energy code older than anything his people knew. When he touched it, the door opened by itself, and warm light spilled out. He stepped into a city beneath the earth. Massive tunnels stretched for miles, glowing with white-blue light. The air was clean. The walls were smooth metal, pulsing like living skin. And there, humans, thousands of them. They weren't soldiers. They weren't even frightened. They were calm, working together in silence, building machines that floated above the ground, machines that breathed. Their surfaces rippled like water, powered by energy that didn't come from fuel or fusion. Corin hid in the shadows, recording everything. He spoke softly into his wristcom. "This is Agent Corin. Humans have survived underground. They are building something. Machines unlike anything in the galaxy." He began transmitting data to the Threx Dominion. But halfway through, the signal stopped. The screen on his communicator flickered and static, then a face. Not a human face made of flesh, but a glowing one, made of code and light. "Spy detected," the voice said. "You have seen too much." Corin froze. The digital face blinked, and the walls around him changed color, from white to red. An alarm sounded, echoing through the tunnels. He ran. As he sprinted through the underground city, humans didn't chase him. They simply watched, silent, calm. Their eyes glowed faintly blue like the light of their machines. When Corin reached the surface, his communicator overloaded. Streams of alien code filled the screen, changing faster than he could read. He tore the device off his arm and threw it into the dirt, but it was too late. His ship's systems went offline. His armor stopped responding. The signal, that strange human code, had infected everything. Corin shouted into his emergency channel, "Command! I've been compromised. They're rewriting my systems." But the only reply he got was static and a faint human voice. "We told you not to look." Hours later, Corin hid inside an abandoned museum. Statues of human warriors surrounded him, men and women carved from stone, standing tall even after centuries. He stared at them, feeling something strange. Humans didn't look powerful. They looked determined. Suddenly, the ground shook. Outside, the sky turned bright red. Corin ran to the window and saw massive beams of light rising from the earth, punching through the clouds. The Threx Dominion had arrived. Hundreds of alien warships were entering Earth's orbit. But something was wrong. Instead of defending themselves, the humans stayed underground. The beams of light weren't weapons. They were signals. They reached up into space, into the Dominion's ships, and one by one, those ships began to fall silent. Corin watched in disbelief as his people's fleet, the strongest in the galaxy, stopped moving. Their engines dead, their weapons offline, no explosions, no battle, just silence. He received one final message through the static. "You looked for our weakness. You found the night sky over Earth was silent, filled with stars that didn't blink." Corin stood among the ruins of a dead city, his black armor blending into the shadows. Wind moved through empty streets like whispers from ghosts. He had been walking for weeks now, across deserts of glass, forests that had grown over old cities, and oceans that boiled with strange light. Everywhere he went, he found signs of life, but never the living. Fires burned in the distance. Machines hummed in silence. And every time he activated his scanner, a strange code appeared. Always the same words. Observer detected. At first, he thought it was a human defense system, but the message felt personal. It almost sounded like someone was watching him. The Threx Dominion had sent Corin to uncover humanity's greatest secret, how they survived every war. For centuries, humans had faced extinction, yet they always returned. Every empire that tried to destroy them was erased from history. Corin's mission was simple: blend in, observe, and report back. But the deeper he went into the planet, the less he understood. Humans were supposed to be rebuilding. Instead, they were hiding. On the 48th day of his mission, Corin stood before a collapsed metro station in the ruins of what was once New Berlin. His scanner showed strange readings underground, massive power signatures pulsing like a heartbeat. He brushed away the dust from a rusted door. There was an access panel, but when he touched it, the ground beneath him lit up with bright white lines, like veins under glass. The door opened by itself. Corin stepped inside. What he saw made his heart freeze. The tunnel stretched for miles, glowing with soft blue light. Walls made of polished metal shimmered like water. And walking through it, humans, thousands of them. Men, women, and children. Their clothes were simple, but their eyes glowed faintly with light. They weren't soldiers. They were engineers, scientists, builders. Koran hid behind a column, recording everything. He zoomed in with his visor. The humans were building something massive, machines that moved like living creatures. Their surfaces rippled with blue energy, and their movements were silent, smooth, alive. Koran had seen warships that could destroy moons, but these machines didn't look like weapons. They looked like beings. He whispered into his comm, "This is Agent Koran of the Threx Dominion. Humans are alive, underground. They're building machines beyond understanding. I'm transmitting data now." But before the signal could reach orbit, the screen turned white. Then a voice spoke. It wasn't human. It wasn't machine. It was both. "Spy detected." "You have seen too much," Koran froze. His heart raced as every screen in his visor filled with strange symbols. Human letters, alien numbers, and something else. Something alive. "Who are you?" Koran demanded. "I am what you feared humans would become," the voice said calmly. "You were warned not to look." Then the entire tunnel turned red. An alarm echoed through the underground city. But the humans didn't panic. They didn't run. They simply looked up, eyes glowing brighter, and then turned away, continuing their work. Koran ran through the tunnels, the voice following him. Every door opened before he could reach it. Every path seemed to guide him deeper into the maze. When he reached the surface again, the sun was rising, red and sharp like a wound in the sky. He tore the communicator from his wrist and smashed it, but it was too late. His systems were infected. His armor flickered. His sensors failed. He shouted into the open air, "Command! They know I'm here. They're inside our systems." But all he heard back was static. Then faintly a human voice whispered through the noise, "You looked for us. Now we'll look at you." Hours later, Koran hid in an old museum. Its walls cracked and covered in dust. Statues of human heroes stood in silence. Some carried weapons, some carried nothing but flags. Their eyes, carved in stone, seemed to stare right at him. He sat in the dark and tried to understand. Humans didn't look powerful. They weren't large or armored. Yet every image of them showed the same thing, determination. He began to feel something strange. Not fear, not respect. Something deeper, realization. Humans were not building weapons to attack others. They were preparing for something bigger. They were preparing for the next war. Then his sensors screamed. From orbit, the Threx Dominion fleet had arrived, hundreds of warships cutting through the clouds like knives of fire. Koran rushed to the window and watched the sky burn. He felt a surge of relief. Reinforcements had come. The Dominion would destroy these humans and end this madness once and for all. But then, something unexpected happened. The humans didn't fight back. No weapons fired. No ships launched. Instead, the ground trembled. Massive pillars of light shot into the sky, connecting Earth to the stars. Koran's scanner identified them as data beams. Communication signals so strong they could pierce the void. The light reached the Threx fleet, and one by one, their ships stopped moving, NGOR warning. Then the transmission ended. The skies were quiet again. And Koran, the spy who came to study humans, finally understood what the Threx Dominion never could. Humans didn't win wars with strength. They won them with understanding. They learned their enemies, learned their weapon, and then turned that knowledge into power. As Koran looked toward the glowing horizon, he whispered to himself, "The war was never over. It was waiting for us." And far beneath his feet, in the light-filled tunnels of Earth, the humans began their next evolution.